approval and popularity, among other things, and can be further explained as the way an individual alters or presents themselves in a way that they believe is normal or called for in society, i.e. socially acceptable. For example, this could include dressing a certain way for an occasion like a party, acting a different way when you first meet your boyfriend or girlfriend's parents, or eating lightly when first going out on a date with an attractive partner. This, as mentioned previously, is more commonly found in women, especially in Western societies, as societal cues, such as thinness being highly valued, evident in social media, or opinions of others, such as males, that may express thinness as being attractive, influence their decisions. This can be seen in the previous study mentioned, where young girls whose fathers valued physical attractiveness and careful intake of food were more likely to participate in behaviors that are not necessarily the normal ones in order to become more socially acceptable or desirable. Social media has been known to cause negative effects, especially on young adolescent girls, regarding their body image satisfaction, self-esteem, and feeling of attractiveness because of the high usage of thin models as the ideal attractive person in television, print ads, and models in general. This can be seen with models like Twiggy, Tyra Banks, and Miranda Kerr, who reinforce the societal definition that small and thin are the way to go. And because of this, individuals may indulge in behaviors such as eating lightly to achieve this ideal attractiveness when out and about with different people. As discussed in class, physical attractiveness does play a role in interpersonal attraction. We want a physically attractive partner just because we like the look of attractive people, aesthetics. We may be evaluated more highly if associated with an attractive person, and because people who are attractive tend to have greater reproductive fitness. Since these thin body types are presented more favorably in society, this induces young females to act in ways that are not necessarily healthy or normal in order to become the perfect mate for males. And this can be exemplified by a study undertaken by Mori, Chaikin, and Kleiner in 1987. 96 male and female college students were asked to participate in a meet and greet type of function individually. The participants didn't meet with each other, they met with a Confederate rather. Before meeting with a Confederate, individuals were asked to fill out a questionnaire with basic information and were then given their partner's questionnaire to look over for a few minutes before the meet and greet started. They rated their partner on a 7-point scale on whether or not they found them desirable based on the answers to the questionnaire. They were then told that they would be giving a rather long speech to their partner and were given some time to prepare. They were then brought into the room with the Confederate. A snack bowl was provided with a pre-measured amount of food. After the session concluded, the researchers then collected the snack bowls and measured out the exact weight of food eaten by male and female participants. Females who wanted to appear more socially acceptable and desirable were found to eat less when they were in a situation with a person they deemed as desirable, indicating the importance of social factors in social desirability. They were unconsciously using cues that they had been bombarded with all their lives to make them seem like the perfect woman to an individual they saw as a potential mystery. I will now turn it over to Nikki, who will be talking about the introduction of Western ideals into other cultures and how it affects their eating pathologies.
My groupmates have talked about the social influences on our eating behavior and the social definitions of attraction, and I'm now going to apply these concepts to eating pathologies that have developed in other countries as a result of Westernization, and more specifically, the introduction of Western attitudes and ideals, including the thin ideal. It is believed that urbanization and Westernization have led to increased eating disorders, and furthermore, eating disorders are now being considered as markers of cultural transition. Illustrating this is the example of the country of Cyprus, which has witnessed a noticeable rise in eating disorders in the last few years. It was hypothesized that Cypriot participants will have higher disturbed eating attitudes than the British sample. In this study, 140 women, 70 from each country, were surveyed using the Eating Attitude Survey, and it found that Cypriot women had higher rates of eating disordered attitudes than British women. But the question is, why? Researchers believe that is due to, after the end of the war, the Cypriot women rejected the Eastern identity and adopted Western attitudes and standards, including the standard of having within. Since this transition was not gradual and happened within the last 40 years, it was not able to be a healthy transition from one way of living to another. Another possible reason could be economic growth. The incidence of anorexia rises in accordance to increasing influence of society, and this is seen not just in Cyprus, but has also been seen in India, Bangladesh, and Eastern Europe. Another study that I found interesting was of eating disorders in Japanese cultural expressions, which illustrates the connection between real life and fictional representations of eating disorders in Japanese culture. Popular Japanese TV shows or animated movies often have storylines that connect the indulging female to something unfeminine, unnatural, and horrible, implying that a good female is obedient, nurturing, and in control of her appetite. Often in plotlines, the way a protagonist avoids evil is by avoiding the consumption or by expelling food. Although this seems pretty extreme, media like this is readily produced and consumed in a culture where restricted food intake is a reality that women face daily. Dieting has also become a form of female entertainment, not only in magazines but also in computer games, where points are scored by losing weight. Another example is in traditional teacup pieces that are aimed at married couples, where the larger size is intended for the male and a much smaller size is intended for the female, meant to reduce consumption. These two studies grabbed my attention because it shows that thinness in women is not just a Western obsession, it has a presence in other cultures as well, whether through Westernization or through a cultural definition of beauty that's been traced back for centuries. I hope you enjoyed our presentation.